Hey everyone, today is Monday, July 17th. And this morning, very early this morning, the WHO did a couple of things that really pissed me off. Now, that takes a lot, but what really does it is hypocrisy and people who lie. And I just don't have room in my heart for forgiveness when people blatantly lie and they're proven to be liars moments after they've told the lie. So, what happened this morning? The WHO published a propaganda video. They are using our tax dollars to produce propaganda videos. Here's the video.
Hi, okay.
This is Steven Solomon, and he's one of WHO's lawyers. Steven's got a stellar track of working on international health agreements, including Influenza Pandemic Preparedness Framework, or Tobacco Control Treaty, and many more. Steven is best placed to explain the legalities of the Pandemic Accord. So, let's begin.
Okay,
Great.
ready?
Thanks.
All right, here are some quotes for you to check out and tell our viewers what you think about it.
Okay, thank you.
The WHO are introducing a pandemic treaty that will mean they'll be able to take your tax dollars without listening to your opinion or giving you the chance to vote on it. Is that democracy?
Okay, this is interesting. Thank you. So this is Russell Brand, who I like and whose videos I watch. And Russell Brand makes a very important point here. Question is, who decides? He often asks that question. In this case, it is countries that will decide. That countries which are in the driver's seat and are in the driver's seat for writing it.
Now, that's just a snippet of the video. It goes on and they do more. But the reason I stopped it there is because they have been saying for the longest time that the negotiations about the WHO CA Plus and the proposed amendments to the international health regulations are a member nation-led process. But they're lying. What has happened recently is in April, the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body told all of the nations, submit text to go into a compilation draft of what all of the nations want to be in the WHO CA+, which most people call the Pandemic Treaty. It's really a framework convention, but they told all of the nations to submit the text that they want in the document. And then what happened is on June 2nd, the bureaucracy, the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body, WHO Secretariat, and all of the bureaucrats who were really in charge of the process published the Bureau's text of the WHO CA Plus on June 2nd. And they have never published the originally submitted documents that are known as the compilation text. It's been rumored to be somewhere between 190 to 208 pages. It's all of the original material that the nations submitted because it's supposed to be a member nation-led process. Well, if you watch the video and what their lawyer just said, or should I say what their liar just said, they have never allowed anyone to see what the nations have actually submitted. And later this morning, at a meeting of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Body, at least 3 of the nations, their delegates, spoke up and said very clearly that they were unhappy about the fact that their proposals that are in the compilation document are not in the Bureau's text. They are unhappy that their wishes, that their proposals are not being considered, and they have to fight to get their proposals into the document because the bureaucracy is running the show. Bangladesh had this to say.
We need to keep in mind that we have all the major elements in our compilation text. Certainly, we have some observation on what were missed out in crafting the text, and certainly the compilation text should remain the basis and the elements should be included in the first draft. We need to actually have a good discussion on how we are going to find the first draft. We have some kind of ambiguity at this stage. We still hold our position that the input to the zero draft that is available in the compilation text should be taken into account. Going forward, it is important that we see our proposals are well reflected in the first draft because we need to create a background for having good negotiation during the coming months. If we enter into a negotiation prior to see our proposals rightly reflected in the first draft, that is not fair.
And the delegate from South Africa said this.
Informal sessions should not be used for negotiation and a platform where delegations are competing for their submissions to the text. The Africa Group would be comforted if its proposals are taken into consideration and reflected in the first draft. We have noted, however, that some of the inputs made by the Africa Group have not found articulation in the text. We wish to highlight also a concern that we noted during the informal sessions, where delegations who wish to make their inputs or regional groups wanted to make inputs could not make additional substantive contributions to the discussions due to time constraints.
And the delegate from Nigeria said this.
We haven't had a pandemic treaty before. And so we consider that given the experience of the past from COVID-19, now that we are having the opportunity to have a pandemic treaty, it is important that all vital elements would have to be included in that pandemic treaty. You know, a very kind of omnibus document that contains how to treat and respond and deal in a real case of a pandemic. And so in the Bureau's text, there are quite so many contents of the compilation text that are not there, you know, both by parties and regions. And we think that it's important for the informals also to be used as an avenue, an opportunity to highlight and discuss some of these issues, and also see a way to re-import them into the document. This is very important. And then the other issue I'd like to speak about is that there is need for the entire process to be an inclusive process. And so we have the joint sessions just, you know, between this week, later this week, we have also next week. And we also have the IMB that is coming up. And so it's quite constraining to have the informals ongoing at this same time when we're also having the meeting. We know it's the meeting time that is being used, but smaller delegations, you know, do not have the human resource to man all of this and make effective contribution. And that's the point about inclusive process. It should, there should be a level playing ground for all parties to contribute maximally and, you know, be part of the process. Thank you very much.
I demand that the WHO Intergovernmental Negotiating Body publish for everyone in the world to see the original submissions from all of the member nations that were submitted back in April and are currently known as the compilation text. Why are you hiding it from everyone in the world? And why are you claiming that this is a member nation-led process when it is clear that it is the WHO who is in charge of who gets to see what and what goes into the document that's being negotiated? I call bullshit.
That's bullshit. I'm calling you out on that bullshit. I have no doubt that it's bullshit. You're trying to pull one over on me. It's bullshit. I'm calling you out on that bullshit. I have no doubt that is bullshit. You're trying to pull one over on me. I was born at night, but it wasn't last. I've seen a lot in my story past. Yeah, Jesus knows that he's taking notes on